Krishna. So welcome to the Bhagavad Gita discussion. We are on the second chapter. We have finished till verses 26. I'll just recap what we discussed in the last section. We began with where we had stopped. That is Avinashi tu tadviddi ena sarvam idam tam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. In the previous verse, he actually begins the teaching that there are two natures. Spirit is always eternal, it is ever existing. Matter, does not undergo endurance because it is temporary. In one sense, it is non existent. So, the nature of matter and spirit, matter is destructible, spirit is indestructible. So, now further in this verses, he is explaining Avinashi tu tad vidhi yena sarvam idam tatam. Avinashi tu tad, know that which is spread all over the body as consciousness, that is the soul, it is avinashi. And it cannot be destroyed because it is indestructible. And that's why, na kasyit vinasham kartum arhati. So this can be also taken as the Paramatma. And we mentioned if verse 16, you take Sat and Asat as Atma and Maya Shakti, then this verse can refer to distinguish that the Paramatma is all pervading and it is indestructible. So that way also you can take. And then further the qualities Antavante me deha nityastak sharirna anashino aprameyasya tasmat tasvibar. Aprameyasya, it is immeasurable because it is a spiritual atom. And that's why it is. And then through neti neti, he starts what it is not, uh, to know what it is the neti neti principle. One who knows thinks that the soul kills, or those who think that the soul is killed, both are in ignorance. The soul does not kill nor get killed. What is killed is the body. And then na jayate mriyate ka jatin. This is a very famous verse. No, the soul has neither birth nor death. No, again, it is never born in the past, nor it will be born in the future. So it is ever existing. Nitya, aja nitya, shashvato yam purano, na hanyate nimane sharire. And then he puts a rhetoric question. Veda vinashanam nityam ye enam ajam avayam. This is the nature of the soul. Katam sa purusha partha. How can, I instigate you to fight? Katam ghate iti. And how, you can kill others. So like that, he puts a rhetorical question. And you're just changing dress. That's it, Arjuna. But with this philosophical understanding, we cannot, do violence and say that I have changed the dress unless you are authorized. So otherwise, you will be held guilty by the laws of the land and the laws of nature. And then further he goes into Nainam Chandanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, na chenam Kledyanti Apo, na Soshati Maruta. It cannot be killed, cut by weapons, nor burnt, nor moistened. And that's why it is Achedyavam, Adayobhyam, Akledyashoshaiva, Nitya Sarvagata. It goes through all the bodies. It is Achala and Sanatana. It cannot be moved from its constitution. It is Achala. And then Avyakto. It is imperceptible, Achintyam, inconceivable. We can only understand through the Praman of the Shrutis, or the Upanishads. Avikaroyam. It is doesn't undergo transformations. We have understanding of transformations in the body, but the soul doesn't undergo transformations. That's why fight. Now, having said that, now Krishna speaks now the philosophy of the materialist. Now, this is a very interesting verse. Let's recite this. Atachainam nityajatam nityam va manyase mritam tatapi tvam mahabhavo nainam sochitam arhasi. Even if you think, ata cha manyase. Manyase means to think. आप अगर ऐसे मानते हैं, the soul is continually born and always dies. Enam refers to the soul. Nitya jatam va nitya mritam. That means the soul is born with the body and the soul dies with the body. Even if you think like this, still you should not lament. Tatapi tvam nainam sochitamarisi. There is no need to lament. O mighty armed one, Mahabhavu. Of course, both Prabhupada and Baldev Vidyabhushan mention Mahabhavu means Arjun, at least you don't subscribe to this materialistic philosophy. But here the thrust of the argument of Krishna is that even if you don't accept the Vedic version of the soul, and even if you accept the materialistic version of the soul, still there is no need to lament and you continue to do your duty. That's the point he is thrusting here. So I'll just go through this purport and then explain a very important concept so that we are very clear about it. I have presented to you the conclusive truth according to the scriptures. So this is the Vedic version he has explained from 2.11 to 15. Of course, is the basic introduction, but it is from 16 to 25, you can say. So you can say that it is his actual teaching, is is from 2.16 to 2.25. From sorry again, I have to use a rubber, but how do I use it? Okay, let me see. I want to rub it. It looks very bad. There's a rubber here, but how do I access it? Draw, yeah, eraser. Yeah. So Krishna has explained this conclusive truth, but he begins the introduction to the philosophy in B 2.11. In 2.15, he just gives a general understanding. But the actual teaching begins from 16 to 25. Now I will present the truth according to material vision, according to materialist. Please understand it. Then he speaks this verse. He speaks Atachenam. If you think that the soul is always born, Nitya Jatam, when the body is born, and always dies, Nitya Mritam, when with the death of the body, you should not lament for it. There is no need to lament. You know, O mighty Arjuna, being a brave Kshatriya, this war is your dharma. As the Bhagavatam says, Kshatriyanam ayam dharma prajapati vinirmita. Bhatrapi bhratram hanyad yena korastama tata. This code of sacred duty of warriors established by Lord Brahma, Prajapati Vinirmita, enjoins that one may have to kill his own brother. Bhratrapi bhratram hanyad. Hanyad means to kill. This is indeed the most dreadful law. Kshatriya law is very, very cruel law. Sometimes to maintain the Kshatriya dharma, one has to kill his own brother. So this is the point Krishna is making. Now, here I wanted to introduce and make you understand very important concept called as orthodoxy and orthopraxy. RCY. Orthodoxy means doctrine or the philosophy. What do you say in simple terms? And orthopraxy means the practice. The practice is according to the philosophy. Now, Krishna has explained the philosophy. This he has explained the philosophy from the scriptural version from 2.16 to 2.25. Now, Krishna is, not explaining now the philosophy. He is giving the philosophy which is not the Vedic philosophy, the materialistic philosophy. The materialistic philosophy, which of course Arjuna doesn't subscribe to it. But even from the material vision, if you see, if you don't accept the philosophy, but even from the material vision, still you do your practice. Generally, we practice, based on the philosophy. But here he is giving importance to doing his Kshatriya dharma. that even if you don't accept the scripture of doing your Kshatriya Dharma, but still you stick to the Kshatriya Dharma, even from the materialistic perspective. So here, what Krishna is doing is he is giving higher importance to orthopraxy than orthodoxy. But of course, it is from the materialistic perspective. But he's saying, still you do your Kshatriya Dharma. You know, oh mighty Am Arjuna, being a brave Kshatriya, this war is your Dharma. That's what he says. And there is a reference given of what Ghor Dharma is Kshatriya Dharma. Okay. Okay. Now, based on this verse, these two verses are connected. Let us see. Because he mentioned that, if you subscribe the philosophy of the materialist, that the soul is born with the body and dies with the body, then what he's now explaining, Jhatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmat apariyarte natvam sochitam arhasi. For what is born, death is certain. Jatasya mrityu dhruv. For what is dead, birth is certain. Mrityasya cha janma dhruvam. Therefore, tasma, since both are unavoidable, apariharya arthe, you should not lament. Natvam sochitum arasi. You should not lament. You should not lament. Repeatedly, this phrase is coming because Arjuna is in lamentation, born out of material compassion. Since death is certain, jatas he means certain. Dhruvam means certainly, with the depletion of karmas meant for this life. And birth is also certain because of the karma acquired by that body which just died. Since both birth and death are unavoidable, apariyare arte, do not lament. For one who is born, he is going to die. So where is the question of lamentation? So this is from the materialistic perspective. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also repeats the same thing, but in a more simple way. The result of one's activity gave rise to birth. So because of karma, you take birth, after which death is certain. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityum. Dhruvam means it is certain. After that, in order to taste the result of one's activities, that is one's previous activities done in the previous body, birth is also certain. So one who has died, for him death is certain. Of course, this is the materialistic philosophy, but ultimately one who practices spiritual life and attain liberation, then there is no birth. But because he's presenting the materialistic view, he's saying for one who is, so here there is karma, that he has generated karma, and then that's why after death there is again birth. Birth is also certain. It is not proper for you to lament for that which is unavoidable. Tasmad apariyarate. That's what he says. Text 28. अव्यक्त्यादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमद्यानि भारत अव्यक्तनिदान्येव तत्र का परिदेवना. Living entities are invisible in the beginning. Avyakta adini bhutani. Bhutani means living beings. It is Bahuvachan. Adimini means beginning. In the beginning, all living entities are, invisible. Manifest in the middle. Vyakta madhyani bharata. And invisible at the end. Avyakta nidadhanya eva. What is there to lament for this? Tatra ka baridehana. So here in this verse, you can see can be seen from two levels, or from two visions you can see this. One is from the universal level, that before Mahavishnu glances at material nature, when he glances, again, I have to use the rubber. So before he glances, so before that, the situation is avyakta. Avyakta it is. And From his glands, the creation starts, the living entities get bodies. So in the middle, it is Vyakta. And then Nidadhanya means in the end. Again, when the creation is wound, it is again Avyakta. So this is one thing. And at a individual level, if you see, before we take birth, the body is not there. And in this lifetime, we have a body. So the body is present only before birth, it is not there. And after death, there is no body. Of course, we get again the whole cycle repeats like that, but you can see it like this. So let's see what Vishwanath Thakur has to say. Thus, from the point of view of the soul, having no birth and death, that is, na jayate mriyate, and from the viewpoint of the body, for which birth and death are certain, that is verse 27, previous verse. The causes of lamentation have been eliminated. So whether you accept the Vedic version, there's no question to lament because the soul is eternal. Or whether from the materialistic point of view, there is no need to lament because the body is born and the body is certain to die. So lamentation has been eliminated from both angles. In this verse, the Lord argues against lamentation using both ideas, being eternal and having certain birth and death, but with a purely materialistic argument. Again, this is a materialistic argument. So devas, humans, and animals are not visible before their birth. They are not visible. However, their subtle and gross bodies do exist invisibly in a potential form from the existence of the casual ingredients such as earth. They become visible in the middle period and invisible after death. Even though at the time of Mahapralaya, these bodies exist in a subtle form through the continued existence in a subtle form of karmas and other elements. Thus, all living entities are invisible before birth and after death and are visible in the interval. So this is, that individual vision which I mentioned, from the individual vision, if you see, uh, but then Mahapralaya vision, that is the universal vision from the viewpoint of Mahavishnu. This is from the viewpoint of, the individual body of the Jiva or the Devata or the animal. This is stated in the personified Vedas in the Bhagavatam. Stira chara jayato syor ajayatho nimikta yajo. O eternal liberated, transcendental Lord, your material energy causes the various moving and non-moving species of life to appear by activating their material desires, but only when and if you sport with her by briefly glancing at her. So when he glances Mahavishnu, then they get bodies. And then when he winds up, they are not their bodies. So this is again the Mahavishnu's viewpoint. So like that. What cause is there for lamentation? Tasmat ka paridevana. Paridevana means again lamentation. As Narad says, Yanmanyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam vana chobhayam sarvata nahi sochas te snehad anyatra mohajat. O king, this is Yudhishthira lamenting because Dhritarashtra has left. In all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be eternal principle or the material body to be perishable, because the material body is born and it dies, or everything to exist in impersonal Brahman truths. So there are these three basic philosophies, and we will see this in the next verse. Whether you consider the soul to be eternal, one, or you consider the material body to be perishable, this is two, or everything is existing in the impersonal absolute truth. This is three. So this we'll see Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentary writes about it. In the footnote of Vishwanath Thakur's commentary also it is there. So we'll understand. Everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit. Feelings of separation are due only to illusionary affection and nothing more. It is only because of illusionary affection of the body you have in relation to the body. So Yudhishthira is lamenting and Narada is consoling him, Narada Yudhishthira Vishad Yoga, there Narad is a spiritual master. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur on this. Oh Bharat, the unmanifest jivas become manifest when they take birth, and they remain manifest in the interim stage between birth and death, and they manifest after unmanifest after death. So this is from the individual perspective of one body. Then why do you lament for this? Even though this philosophy is not the opinion of saintly persons, if after carefully considering everything you accept it, still it is your duty to fight and thus protect the religious principles of. So he is still emphasizing practice over the doctrine, even if you don't accept the doctrine of the Vedic version. But Arjuna is an Arya. He cannot go against the Vedic principles, but from a purely materialistic point, as Vishnu Thakur says. Okay, this verse will clarify this point, and I will clarify it, what exactly Narad Muni is saying. Ascharyavat paschit kashchidenam, ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanya, ascharyavat anyah shrunoti, shutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet. Some realize kaschet pashyati, the soul with amazement. Enam ascharyavat. Some realize the soul with amazement. Others speak of it in amazement. Ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanya. Others hear about it with amazement. Ascharyavat cha enam anya shrunoti. Hearing about, speaking about, or seeing it, shrutvapi enam, still no one knows it at all. Veda na cha eva kasyat. So some see the soul with amazement. Oh, they say that, in this body there is a soul. Actually, they are not able to see because they are not self-realized. And some, speak. The speakers speak about it with amazement. And the hearers also hear with amazement. But still, all the three cannot realize it. Now, Arjuna is saying, what an astonishing thing you are describing. And it is so astonishing that though I have been enlightened by you, my lack of discernment does not go away. So you can see that Arjuna's lack of discernment after, in spite being instructed by Krishna himself, you know, who is the source of all knowledge. He is the compiler of Vedanta. He's the supreme person, but still he's enlightened, but still he's not able to, his lack of discernment does not go away. So Arjuna falling in delusion, Yudhishthira Maharaj falling in delusion, of course, they are all the acts of Yogamaya, but we should understand that how powerful is the forces of delusion, that even a person with discrimination also can you know become carried away. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipashchita indriyani pramatini haranti prasabam mana. This is how it is. Yes, the Atma is truly astonishing. With this intention, the Lord then speaks this verse. The word enam in this verse stands for the soul and the body, the combination of both which constitutes the whole world. Now, here, carefully the footnote. The Sanskrit for this cryptic statement is enam atmanam deham cha tad ubayarupam sarvalokam. The meaning as taken by Bhaktivinoda in his translation of the verse is, the soul is amazing since people understand this soul in completely different ways. What? This Jiva Tattva is seen as a material entity or body, devoid of conscious substance, deha. So they cannot understand the soul, they think, you are this body only. Prabhupada started in New York, Fifth Avenue, his classes on Bhagavad Gita every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And he was every day hammering, you're not this body, your spirit soul, you're not this body, your spirit soul. So one of the hippies was attending, if I'm not my body, then whose body am I? He was asking Prabhupada. That means I'm still the body only. So it's very difficult to understand this Jiva Tattva, is seen as a material body, hmm, is seen as a conscious entity which is not eternal. Jatasya dhruvam mitra dhruvam janmasa mritast. It is not eternal. And as one soul only, as in Advaita philosophy, Sarvalokam. Sarvalokam. That is that impersonal philosophy which was referred here in, soul to be eternal, material body to be perishable and everything exists in. So these three types, of understandings people come to different ways. They cannot understand the real nature of the soul. In Vishwanath's commentary, he takes the meaning of Ashcharya as astonishing, in the sense hard to understand, modifying enam, the soul. The Atma is hard to understand, difficult to understand. It's astonishing. Thus, they misunderstand it as a material object, as a temporary spiritual element, or as one all-pervading soul. So these three types of understanding, they cannot come. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his commentary makes it very clear. Those who cannot understand matters related to Sarupa, eternal nature of the Jivatma soul, indeed suffer misconceptions in the form of Jadavad, gross materialism. Anitya Chaitanyavad, literally the philosophy which propagates the temporary nature of consciousness, or Keval Advaitavad, monism. So these three things, this is called a Jadvad. The body itself is, the Jiva, and Anitya Chaitanyavad. Nitya Chaitanyavad means the soul is eternal, but it is born and it dies. No? So it is Anitya Chaitanyavad and Advaitavad. Okay, this is another quotation which is not there in both the commentaries, but in the Kathopanishads it is mentioned, Shavaneyapi Bahubir Yona Labhya Shunvatopi Bhavoyam na Vidyu Ashcharyasya Vyakta Kushalo Asya Labda Ashcharyasya Gyata Kushalanushishta. The opportunity to hear instructions about the science of self, Atma Tattva, is very rare. Shravanapi Bahubir Yona Labhya. It's very rare to come to someone to hear on the Atma Tattva. Even after hearing, most cannot realize the instructions because a master who is self-realized is very rare. Shutvopi Bahuvo Yam Na Vidu. Because Ashcharya Asya Vakta Kushala. Because you need a self-realized soul. And if by great fortune such a teacher is available, Ashcharyasya Gyata, it is rare to find students who are able to understand this topic. you know, Asya Gyata Kushala Anu Shishta. Very rare. So how? So only by the mercy of a very exalted spiritual master, by his causes mercy, we can, really understand this. And one must have executed pious activities, many pious activities in the past lives, or in this life in the form of sadhu seva, serving the mahats. That's why one comes into the path of self-realization, which is nothing but Krishna consciousness. Now, this is the last verse I'll take, and then I'll stop for questions because this will end the section. Dehi nitya avadyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam sochitam arhasi. O Bharata, Bharata, the soul in the body of all entities. Ayam dehi sarvasya dehe. Dehi is the soul who resides in the deha. Can never be killed. Nitya avadya. Therefore, tasmat, you should not lament. Nattum sochitamarasi, for any being. Sarvani bhutani. All living beings, you should not lament. So that's how he has concluded his discussion here with tasmat. Therefore, tasmat, whenever it comes, here he's concluding a particular topic. Now, Arjuna is saying, therefore, speak clearly. What should I do and not do? Do not lament, but rather fight. Tasmat yudhyasva. No, dehi nitya avadyavam, dehe sarvasya bharat, tasmat sarvani bharat, natvam sochitam. So you fight. In two verses, Krishna explains this. So this verse and the next verse. That next verse he will tell that such a war you should fight. Okay, so that ends a very important discussion from 2.11 to 2.20. That is Gyan. You're not the body, you're the spirit soul. And counteracts the compassion argument. So you have any questions on this section 26 to 30, which we completed just now? Any questions, any clarifications you have? Okay, there are two questions. Is Navneet Kalra Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhuji, when Arjuna is being told to follow the Kshatriya Dharma, Following the Varnashram Dharma is at the bodily consciousness platform.
Mhm. Yeah, ultimately, the whole purpose of Varnashram Dharma, we'll come to it very soon, that, it is to come to the, there are two types of Swadharma. There is a Swadharma of the Swabhava, which is the Varnashram Dharma, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and there is a Swadharma of the soul. So ultimately, in the conditioned state, one has to follow this so that ultimately can get elevated to the highest form of dharma, which is the Jaiva Dharma. So, in the conditioned state, it is, we have a nature and we have to use that nature and purify that nature. And there are two ways. One is through the Nishkama Karma Yoga through the Varnashram. And the express highway is, which is given the Bhagavad Dharma. Of course, even if we are executing Bhagavad Dharma, but still we have the conditioned nature. And to come to the point of Bhagavad Dharma means only hearing and chanting 24 hours. That means you should be liberated and you're not under the influence of the modes. No? Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Deving Prakriti Mashita. So the bhakti process where when we are in the conditioned state, which we are practicing now, and at the liberated state, it is pure bhakti. So that is the express method. But generally, although we understand that there is a higher dharma, but there is a gradual progression from the swadharma of the body to the swadharma of the soul, which Krishna is going to progressively take in the Bhagavad Gita. And that is what we will see in our discussion soon. Okay.
So right now, if he's following his Kshatriya Dharma, just right now, and not going forward,
Yes,
he's
yes. So
doing it
Krishna.
as he's doing it as a Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Yes, yes, that he has not yet come to the teachings, but he will come now. That is what the Kshatriya Dharma is, he will, because he's Dharma he is referring, na? So the
Yeah,
Dharma is referring to his Kshatriya Dharma, that is Varnashram Dharma. In the next
yeah.
verse only it will come up.
So that is he'll purify his heart because it is a little difficult to understand the nature of the soul if you are operating at the bodily platform, right?
No, 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 no. There is a gradual, I will come to it, let's come to the next verse. That time I will come to it in quite detail. Hold
Okay.
on for now, okay?
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. This is regarding the yesterday's lecture. You have told about that word in 2.16, tat and tad, right? There are two
Tad,
explanations.
there is not for tad, Avinashi to tad. Tad means that.
Yeah.
That can refer to the soul which is pervading in the body, or that can refer to the all pervading Paramatma feature of the Lord, whose consciousness is pervading throughout the universe.
But there was some mention about tat and tad. I
No,
was
no,
little
no.
confused
I
for that
just
word.
mentioned. Okay, okay. Let me make it very clear. In Sanskrit, na, sometimes what happens,
Yeah.
let me clarify. I show you in the Prabhupada's word to word meaning, then it will become more clear. Good, your hearing is very, very attentive. That you noted down. I made that point.
Because my problem, no, my confusion was because generally I've seen in Prabhupada's writing, he mentions Om Tat Sat, right?
Yeah, let me
That
come to
Tat,
it. No,
yeah,
here you
that Tat
see
is what?
Avinashi to Tad. Tad is here. But
Yeah,
actually, the Sanskrit, if you take it, is Tat.
yeah,
So the, the point here is that what we are trying to say is it is Tat only, Om Tat Sat only, correct? But
yeah.
it is tat, but the tat becomes tad because of sandhi. Sandhi means in Sanskrit.
Okay. Yeah,
So because of sandhi, because that next word avinashi tu tad vidhi va is there, na? So
yeah.
that tat becomes tad when you in the verse. So but it is referring to that. You have to understand, and that can refer to the soul, or that can refer to the super soul also. So two
So
explanations.
when Prabhupada is writing Om Tat Sat, he is referring to the super soul.
Absolute truth. Now, the absolute truth is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Now, based on the conception, you can have different
Okay,
conceptions. Somebody who's a
okay,
Brahmavadi, he will tell Tat means that all pervading Brahman.
okay.
So it all varies on the conception. See, everything is based on the conception. That's why I'm referring to most of the concepts also here as we are discussing. Okay, is it clear?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dhanapram.
Yes.
Prabhu, this science of the soul, which we have discussed theoretically, Prabhu, to realize this knowledge for duty, it is at Nishtha stage or?
No, 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 not really like that. Um, basically, hmm, basically there is it will come up again in the further. It is based on Shraddha. Shraddha refers to Shartartha Vishwas, Shastrata Vishwas. So basically, what happens is that we have Shraddha based on our Sabhava and Shraddha based on the Shastra. Now we are trying to acquire knowledge based on the Shastra. This is the Bhakti Shastra. But that absolute faith that Krishna will take care no matter what, that if I surrender to him, Krishna will take care of my family, Krishna will take care of everything, Krishna will take care of me. That faith we lack, and that development of faith is through hearing the sadhus, the Shastra. And when you come to that point, then that is, that Shraddha you have acquired, that Shraddha becomes the impetus for you to, enter into Shuddha Bhakti, enter into Shuddha Bhakti. So that is a very elevated stage, and it is Shraddha is there synonymous to Sharanagati. So the development of faith, when that faith reaches its pinnacle, then you can understand that, then, what has happened is also that you have, by that hearing process in your conditioned state, you have purified your conditioned nature also. You have purified your conditioned nature. And now you have been doing devotional service, but, with the senses, and the senses are getting purified. And when the senses get completely purified, now with the purified senses, when you know, uh, perform devotional service, then pure devotional service begins in one sense. Or to make it another point clear, Shraddha in Shastrartha is like the impressions on the soul. And Shraddha of the Sabha is and the impressions on the based on your nature subtle body. And we have both now. And to how much degree what we have, we have some fair idea. And even that also sometimes we don't have good idea. How much we have faith of our Sabhava and faith, like I feel that, if I have to travel today, if I do my rounds, Krishna will take care. Krishna says, Ananyas Chintantam. No, 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 let me make some arrangement. Call the cook and tell him to cook something for me and let me carry it for travel. So we feel that, I need to maintain my body and we lack that faith. So there is a gradual elevation happening where the Shraddha of the Sabhava is getting purified and you are becoming free from that or purified from that, or the impressions are getting, you know, completely purified. And there is the Shraddha of the soul which is growing. And the Shraddha of the soul, when it goes, its consciousness is only diverted towards Bhagwan and nowhere else. There is no material attraction. Then that Shraddha has actually fructified. Like, you know, Sharanagati is basically surrender out of love. Now, when you love, the object of your devotion, then it makes you think of that object all the time. Your consciousness is consumed by it all the time. You don't have any room for anything in your consciousness. So that state is from where actually, your mind just flows towards Krishna. Tvai me ananya vishaya madhupate sakrit pratim udvati adya gangavai. So like that it is. I hope it is clear.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other questions anyone else has? Okay. Somebody else also has raised their hand. Anyone else? No. Okay. Okay. So I'll today just introduce the. Oh, let's see. We have few minutes more. We have finished the first and the second section. Quite doing well now. I'm also like not spending a lot of time. We could spend on each verse like 15, 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but I felt at the same time just stick to what the Acharya is saying and maybe here and there some important concepts so that there is a good smooth flow of the discussion and it will help us to also complete the syllabus. That's important. So now Jnana is what? Soul is eternal, body is temporary, fight. Now Karma Kanda 31 to 38. This is the first application of Atyaman, fight. By doing your prescribed duties, you will enjoy. Counters Arjuna's enjoyment argument. So this, why it is called as the first application of Atma Gyan? Because although this Gyan is there, that you're not this body, you're the spirit soul, but still to realize that, you have not come to that platform and you're still attracted to the fruits, you know. So there are two things in Sanskrit called as ends and means, or the means. Let me, anyway, there is a page here. So there is the means and the ends. So, something. Yeah. Means and ends. So a child, has to go to school and the father, tells him that if you every day go to the school, I'll give you chocolate. CHO, chalk, I don't know the spelling also of chocolate. Good. And the child is motivated not for education, which is the end, but is motivated more by the fruit of chocolate. But as the child goes, you know, to the school and he starts engaging his mind and intelligence in education, he starts relishing education, then no more, that fruit of, impetus for going to school is chocolate, because he's now started liking education. So gradually, uh, you know, when we have this knowledge that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul, but we have not yet realized, just like, the example I give is of dream, when you're in the dream, uh, you're a king and you're enjoying with the king and there is a palace and you're enjoying the opulence and suddenly the dream breaks and you come out of illusion. And once you're all out of illusion, you get into practical activities. I have to work, so you come out of it. You don't no more go in that dream state and try to, be in that dream because you've come out of it. But similarly, you might say that you're not this body or spirit soul. And, Prabhu, everything what you're doing, you're working for your family, you're trying to maintain it, this, that. Ultimately, when death comes, this dream will be over and everything will be finished. So better leave everything and just come to direct practicing Shuddha Bhakti. Somebody might preach like this, but it is not recommended, this kind of preaching, because it will not work in the long. But for someone, who has not come out of the illusion, there is a gradual transition he has to go through to come out of the dream. So there is a natural, first is there is attachment to fruits, and then there is detachment, and then he matures, and then slowly he comes out. And when he realizes himself, he comes out of illusion. So there is that natural, progression one has to go through. So the first level, that is why it's called as the first application of Gyan, because here Krishna motivates Arjuna to fight, because ultimately you will attain Swarga. If you die, or if you win, you will attain the sovereignty over earth. So that's how he motivates him to perform dharma. This is called as Sakama Karma Yoga 31 to 38. I'll just discuss this one verse and then we'll stop for questions. Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitumharasi dharmadhi yuddhachrayanyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Even considering your own duties, swadharmam api cha aveksha. You should not be fearful. Na vikampitum arasi. There is nothing better for a warrior. Kshatriyasya anyat shreya na vidyate than to fight for the right cause. Dharmad hi yuddha. So this is a dharma yuddha. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on this. Because the soul cannot be destroyed, you should not fear killing, stated in the previous verse. That was stated in verse 30. Dehi nitya avadyo. And considering from the viewpoint of your particular duties, since there is nothing better than fighting for dharma, you should not fear killing. So this is the second higher level, he says. First is because the soul is eternal and the soul is not killed. But again, now from your, based on your dharma, that is the relation of the two verses. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary, please hear very carefully. There are two types of sadharma, prescribed duties for the soul, depending on whether the soul is in the stage of bondage or in the liberated stage. In the liberated stage, the Swadharma remains free from any material affiliation. So there is no material affiliation because there are no vasanas, there are no samskars, which are, no, it's completely purified. In the conditioned stage, however, the Swadharma becomes partially affected by material designation, that is species, gender, nationalities, caste, etc., which place the jiva into various temporary conditions. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving a very broad, understanding here, species, genders, nationalities, caste. Under these conditions, many unavoidable variations occur within the Swadharma. But when the soul attains a human form of life and follows the social system of Varnashram Dharma, the Swadharma attains a beautiful form. So, actually, even for that matter, whether in the previous times or today in Kaluga where Varnashram is completely lost, even to take up to Shuddha Bhakti, Varnashram is the perfect vehicle because situated in the Varnashram, you have time to hear and chant more and more and develop that Shastriya Shraddha. So, Varnashram is the best vehicle because Varnashram ultimately takes you from the Swadharma of the body to the Swadharma of the soul. So that's why there are two types of Swadharma. One is in the conditioned state, one in the liberated state. Therefore, another name for this Varnashram is Swadharma. So this is called as Swadharma. What can be better for a Kshatriya than to fight? So that is what Arjuna, Krishna says. I'll take this one more verse and then we'll complete. Yadrichaya chopapannam swargadvaram apavritam sukina kshatriyaha pata labante yuddham idrisham. Happier warriors, Sukina Kshatriya Partha, Arjuna are lamenting. Kshatriyas are very happy when such wars come. Who obtain such battle? Labante Idrasham Yudham, which comes just without effort. Yadrichaya Chopapannam, without effort, this battle has come, and which opens the doors to heaven. Swargadwaram Apavratam. Moreover, even then, moreover, more than even the victors, those who die in a just battle attain happiness. By killing Bhishma and others, you make them happier. Even without doing karma yoga, one can attain swarga through the battle without any obstruction. Apavritam. So other acharyas quote, how Kshatriya, without turning his back, dies in the battle, killed by the enemy, he attains swarga. And not performing any karma kanda, straight he gets that benefit, or what the sannyasi gets, by performing sannyas dharma. Okay, so I will stop here, and if there are any questions, let us take it up. Any questions, any clarifications up till now, what we have discussed? Yes, Navneet Kalra Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mm.
So the warriors on Duryodhan's side, those who got killed, they also got Swarga.
Yes, and this is special because Krishna was on the battlefield, everyone got liberation.
But if it's not there, like if Krishna had not been there and they are on the wrong side, still
Still
they
they
would
will
be
get Swarga.
okay.
That's
Just by following their dharma.
Kshatriya Dharma.
Right and wrong doesn't matter.
And whether they fight on behalf of the enemy or for the enemy, it doesn't matter. If it is a Dharma Yuddha, then definitely they get Swarga. Interestingly, there are many incidents which are practically recorded evidences of soldiers in these wars which have happened in the last few years. Of
Yeah.
one of the pilots who narrates that when he was killed in the battle, because he was fighting with a spirit to save his country, it was not like exactly like a dharma yuddha, which is
Yeah.
prescribed in the Shastra. They attain not the heavens, but there are intermediary levels of heavenly abodes also. So this experience, what he went through of that abode also, those recorded evidences are there. What to speak, So what to speak of a dharma yuddha, definitely, which is sanctioned by the scriptures, they attain swarga. So one should, uh, be, have full faith in the statement of the Shastras. And even if one, in a general selfless way to save the country, fights a war, even he gets a little higher destination within this world also. Is it okay?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other question anyone else has? Yes, dear Krish Prabhuji.
To just follow up on Madhavi's question, regarding this
No,
party.
your audio is very low.
Hare
Audio.
Krishna, bro. Now it
Yes.
is okay.
Now it's perfect.
Prabhu, just follow up on Mataji's question. This fighting for dharma, Prabhu. I mean, whether the fighter is from, fighting for dharma or from a dharma side, both get the same result.
Yes, both get the same result. See, basically, you have to understand the principles of Kshatriya warfare. When they can declare a war, you know, not for self-aggrandizement, but, to protect the praja, you know, if enemy king attacks, you know, then they have to protect the territory. So that is the duty of a Kshatriya. And this kind of a Kshatriya duty for Kshatriya dharma is it's a dharma yuddha. And in such kind of dharma yuddha, whoever is participating, whether it is protecting the one who's protecting territory or one who's, attacking the territory, if they fight in such a Kshatriya warfare, then it will definitely, they will attain Swarga.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Okay, so it's almost 8:15 and next four verses are very simple. and we can finish them and then continue with our discussion. So I'll just take 2 minutes and then finish, because it will take just 2 minutes to finish these verses. So after explaining these two verses, then he says, Atachetvam imam dharmam sangramam na karishyasi tatah swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsasi. If you do not take part, atachetvam na karishyasi, in this righteous war, imam dharmam sangramam, giving up your duty and fame, swadharmam kirtim cha hitva. So here again it is based on swadharma of the body only. You will instead reap sin. Tata papam avapsasi. So you can see here he thought Arjuna in 136, papam eva shaye tat asmat atvaitan hatataina. He thought, by participating in this war, I'll incur sin. But actually, if he doesn't take part in this kind of a varnashram dharma, of a kshatriya dharma, then he will be, actually performing sin. Akirtim chapi bhutani. There is a one-line commentary. In 4 verses, he describes the fault of doing the opposite if he doesn't do it. Akirtim chapi bhutani katashyanti te vayam sambhavitasya cha kirtir marnad atirichyate. For a Kshatriya, kirti is very important, and that was the argument even given in 2.2. Aswargam akirtim karanam Arjuna. They will speak incessantly. Bhutani avayam katashyanti. Of course, it's not that, they will speak forever for many, many millennia together. But here Krishna is just presenting that argument. They will speak incessantly of your infamy. Te kirtim. For one who has a great position, sambhavitasya, dishonor, akirti is worse than death. Maranad atirichyate. So avyam means continually. Sambhavitasya means of great position. भयाद्रनादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथा येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्. The great warriors, Maharatha, by whom you are regarded highly, yesham cha tvam bahumata bhutva, and will now gain insignificance, lagavam yasyasi, will think, mamsante, that you have abandoned the battlefield out of fear. Tvam bhayad ranaduparatam. Don't think, Arjuna, that if you leave this battle out of compassion, they will think, oh, Arjuna is left out of compassion. No, they will think you have left out of fear. Those who have high regard for you as a warrior, even though you are an enemy, will no longer give you respect if you give up the battle. The Maharathas like Duryodhan will think that you have fled in fear from the battlefield. They will not think of any other reason for the Kshatriya to leave the field than fear. Strong bonds of friendship will not be considered. Avachyavadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahita nindanti tava samartyam. Just a second. Yeah. Text 2036, last one. Avachyavadamscha bahun vadishyante tavahita ninnantasti tava samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. They will speak tava ahita vadishyanti, many unspeakable words about you. Avachyavadamcha bahun, criticizing your abilities. Nindanti tava samarthyam. What could more painful? What could be more painful? I think it should be tato dukkataram nukim. They will speak of you in ill terms, such as coward, Enoch. Okay. So from 37, we'll take on in the next class. 37 onwards is a transition verse. 37, 38. 38 is a transition verse. So I will take up in the next class. We'll end now. I hope there are no questions now, right? Okay, so we'll stop here. Rantraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Tirthprat Pravushi, are you there? Okay.